Not the age on my passport. I mean the age of everything that came before me. Because I'm not a separate thing that appeared out of nowhere. I am a 4 billion years of life history, still continuing. And no, this is not a biology lecture about evolution. This is a question about something much stranger. What happens when a species that has never stopped changing starts believing it is finished? But before we talk about where humanity might go next, maybe we need to look at what we actually are. Because evolution doesn't happen to a species all at once. It happens through billions of individual lives, through countless tiny changes carried forward from one generation to the next. 4 billion years ago, a bubble surfaced in an ancient ocean. That bubble became a single cell. It kept copying itself, mutating, branching, diverging, and somehow this endless process produced this. Me, sitting here in front of a screen, looking back. If you stretch the timeline far enough back, what exactly is this organism sitting here right now? This body, this brain, this particular way of thinking, these memories, these anxieties, these dreams. Is anything about me actually original? My mitochondria come from a bacteria merged 2 billion years ago. My spine comes from a small fish swimming through the Cambrian Sea 500 million years ago. The bones in my hand trace back to Tiktaalik, a fish that decided 375 million years ago to try its luck on land. My warm blood and memory glades come from a tiny creature hiding from dinosaurs 200 million years ago. My stereoscopic vision comes from a small primate gripping tree branches 60 million years ago. And my brain capacity, my language, comes from an ancient ape that stood up, walked out of the forest, and started looking at the world differently a few million years ago. In some very real sense, I'm not a fixed, independent, self-contained person. Neither are you. I'm a single moment in 4 billion years of Earth's living history. So are you. Life on Earth is not a ladder climbing toward perfection. It is a tree. But here's the strange thing about this tree. It is not just a map of life. It is a family tree. Every living thing on Earth today is somewhere on this enormous, ancient structure. A daisy, a ladybug, a mushroom, an eagle, a whale shark, and me. We're not just sharing the same planet. We are relatives, branches of the same tree of life. But there's another way to look at this tree, from single leaf, starting from me. If I follow this Homo sapien branch backward, I find something almost impossible to believe. A chain that has never been broken. From the first cell to the capacity for language, not a single link in that 4 billion years chain was ever lost. Through ice ages, supervolcano eruptions, asteroid impacts, 5 mass extinction events, every single ancestor I have, going all the way back, managed at a minimum to survive long enough to reproduce. Just once. That's all it took. If any one of them had been eaten at breakfast or simply failed to find a mate, I would not be sitting here. From a molecular biology perspective, I genuinely carry replication code that traces back to that original ocean. Actually, I keep saying I really mean we. Because this isn't just my story. This is the story every human being alive today, Every one of us is the current endpoint of an unbroken chain of life stretching back billions of years. The detail that hit me hardest when I started pulling on this thread wasn't the science. It was something much more personal. I saw the name Milo Kunming Fish. I actually stopped just for a second because that Kunming is that my Kunming? It is. I was born and raised in Kunming, Yunnan, China. I'm standing on the same shallow continental shelf where creatures like Milo and Hycoichthys once lived during the Cambrian period. I didn't come here just to film a video. I come here to visit a relative from 500 million years ago. Looking at these fossils, something strange happened. The universe stopped being cold data and became something else. Something with coincidences in it, something with a sense of humor. I'm not going to romanticize this into my ancestors came from Kunming. These fish were not my direct ancestors, but they belonged to the same ancient family tree that eventually led to us. And when someone who grew up in today's Kunming looks back at that ancient ocean, something shifts. You suddenly feel the tree as a living thing rather than a diagram. You feel how many branches appeared, disappeared, and changed. Some surviving in different forms, others fading into history. And how we are simply one of the branches that happens to be here today. Not the destination, just the current edge. And how we have habit of treating that edge as a finish line, as if Homo sapiens was evolution's final answer. But maybe not. Every species alive today is a snapshot, not a finished product. We're unlikely to be the exception. And this is the funnest pattern in our entire history. Every time life creates something new, the previous version struggles to recognize it. We look at Cambrian craters and say, how strange. We look at early fish and say, how primitive. We look at our ape ancestors and say, they're not quite us. And now, when something appears that is different from ourselves, our first reaction is, a monster. Maybe the universe finds this slightly amusing. After 4 billion years of evolution, life finally produced a species capable of understanding its own history, and that species immediately started asking whether anything that comes after it should exist. After walking through 500 million years of life history, I reached the final room of the museum. And strangely, the final question was not about the past. It was about the future. Humans have always imagined what might come next. So, where exactly on this tree are we right now? The answer might be different from what we expected. The most distinctive thing about humans is not just what our bodies can do. It is what we learn to copy. Information, ideas, thoughts. We figured out how to make thought leave the body. Language was the first time we moved an idea from inside one nervous system to inside another. Before language, everything a person learned died with them, an entire life of accumulated experience gone, the moment the body stopped working. Language changed that. One person's thought could now travel. It could be heard by someone else. remembered, carried forward across time. An idea from thousands of years ago could land inside a mind living today. Writing amplified this. Printing let ideas replicate at scale. The internet let them connect instantaneously across the entire planet. And now something new is happening to the way thoughts participate in the generation of other thoughts. Life has always evolved new ways to store, copy, and extend information. For 4 billion years, that process lived entire inside biology, inside cells, inside bodies, inside nervous systems. Humans may be the first species we know of to build an external system for storing and transforming information. We make tools, we make culture, we make things that turn around and change us back. Whether the next transformation happens inside biology or beyond it, the pattern is the same. Life changes. It always has. So, if Homo sapiens is a branch, not a destination, if already different from the humans who came before us, do we actually have the power to stop the tree from growing in a new direction? And more importantly, do we have the right to refuse it?